Okay, welcome back to Android application development. Today I should be working on DemoCensor, which is another one of the 270 projects. It's an easy one that basically they just have to block any words containing the letters demo or any derivative of demo when you visit a web page. But I'm not going to try particularly hard at this one. This is one of the easier tasks. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you guys how to make kind of a light version of a browser, because I saw a lot of people wanted to do like either web crawling or visiting a web page and pulling content from it. And there's basically two ways to do this. One is to kind of make a miniature web browser. And here's the ugly truth about Android development today. Many Android apps, I know that you're in a class to learn Android development, so you're a little optimistic about it, but most Android apps today are just this. And that's it. That's the whole app. It just links to some URL. And what this is, what I just put in there, is called a Webview. And a Webview basically lets you open the system's integrated browser inside of an app and display web content in there. So that's your first bet whenever you want to browse kind of the internet inside of your app in a general way. And the reason that this has replaced application development is because you can write your app for web. So you can write a website with like a JavaScript app, and then you can just deploy this silly little view to your users as a quote-unquote Android app and basically allow them to access it that way. So you only need to write it once. You really actually just have to write the one web version. For a while there, the trend was going the other way. A lot of you probably still remember annoying sites, and Reddit still does this to this day. Whenever you visit their website, they go, "Get the app, our website's terrible." And they force you to get the app. So that's kind of the opposite end of that same spectrum. All right, let's see how we might build a light browser, basically, using a web view. Try to make the crappiest browser I can here, because it might take me a while. All right, so I said there were two ways. Now the other is to create a HTTP request and simply get the response back that way. So you issue an HTTP request, a standard HTTP request, you get the response back, the index.html or whatever web resource you're getting. You can also issue something like a curl request or something as well. Those are both pretty easy to do. You can do those in plain Jane Java, so we could do those in Eclipse. I could show you how to do both those things. I still have code left over for both of those things, I believe, from our networking class even, so I can just probably copy and paste those in for you. Let me see if I still have those guys here. I might not. We'll see. I don't know. I definitely have some HTTP request code lying around somewhere, and you can certainly find some on the internet. The downside to that approach is that most of the web is now JavaScript powered, and your little HTTP getter or your little curl getter aren't able to parse the JavaScript content, which might not be of interest to you anyway. From what I heard, you guys talking to me about your web crawling needs, you really just want to parse the text of a website. Most likely that's going to be in the HTML anyway, so you might be better off not bothering with the web view. Obviously, the downsides of the web view are you have to load the whole page. However, let's say that I know one of your apps was like a recipe tracker, another one was like a nutrients tracker. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could just go straight to, I don't know, the Wikipedia page or something for one of the items that you're dealing with? That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Or to some, helpful already existing resource about the thing you're dealing with. So you might want to consider integrating a little mini browser like this in the web view for those purposes. Okay, I guess I need some other stuff here, so I'm going to need like, let's see, let me look at a browser real quick. Think about what's the bare minimum that I need for a browser. I definitely need a URL bar. Let's get an edit text in there. Oh, what's it going to be? Is it plain text? I guess it's about as close to plain text as you can be. So that's the URL bar. Okay. What else do I want here? I might want to do a progress bar, but I don't think I'm that fancy. I'm going to skip the progress bar for now. Let's just do a button. And I'm going to put those both inside of a linear layout so that they can hang out together. Let's give that a weight of 0.9, and that a weight of 0.1. And this is going to be wrap content. Okay. And I'll change the button to go button. And I'll change the text. Go. Okay, what else do I need? That's probably good. Yeah, maybe I'll come back for the other stuff later. I don't need the default text here. Well, I guess I can start off with Google. So it's google.com. Do I need to put the HTTP for Webview? I guess we'll see. I don't quite remember. Alright. So I think I'm going to need some permissions here. I think in order to use the Webview, you need all of the internet permissions, all the regular ones. So you need Wi-Fi, internet, and something else. Let me look it up. Permissions to use Webview. You don't need any. Well, another example of using the Webview here to play a video. If you have video content, you can host it off-device by using a Webview. Pretty cool. You're going to need internet. That's a pretty obvious one. Where do these go? I think they go under application here. I can never quite remember. Yep, at the top, okay. That seems accurate. And is that it? Yeah, I think this is wrong. I think you need to check network state and Wi-Fi too, but we'll see down the road. Alright, I'm going to run this just to get my first Gradle build of the day out of the way and see if it opens up on my phone. Sorry for that late start today, by the way. I did the most common thing that Android developers do, the bane of all Android developers, forgetting where you put your USB-C cable. That is truly the biggest peril in our industry. Alright. Nice. Okay. Alright, next I need to set up my Webview and all that good stuff. I'm just going to do it all in one activity, I think. So I want to grab my edit text. It's that guy. Find view by ID. What did I call it? Did I forget to name it anything? No, I called it URL bar. I should call this something too. Main Webview. r.id there it is, URL bar. Okay. And I'm going to make it global. Import it. Button, go button. Webview. Let's call it Webview here. Button. Go button. This linking of the UI is kind of something that you always end up having to do if you haven't noticed. It is interesting that after all these iterations, they still haven't come up with a way to just automatically link you to all of the views in the activity. Definitely one of my pet peeves in Android is having to do this every time I set these up. Alright, and now let me look it up here. What settings do you need to add? The WebViews have tons of settings. WebView settings for a browser. Okay. Alright. So, yeah, these all sound right from my experience, and then I still have to set up the listener for my button. Guess I'll actually copy all this from this guy. It's pretty good. It's all pretty good. Alright. So it's gonna be my go button setting the listener. I called it WebView with a capital. I need to import the listener. Ooh, which one is it? That game again, huh? Hope I grabbed the right one. And it's gonna be, alright. Web settings is another import. I need WebView client, probably. Ah, depreciated, so this code no longer works. I'll have to look something else up. Well, works, but I shouldn't do it. I'll look something else up. But we'll roll with it for now. I'll swip it out later. Okay, so is it WebView settings? Let's see. Got another machine here with some comments, maybe. Oh, I found another good example that lets you restore things. No, we'll do that a different day. Okay. So WebView.get settings, I'm going to set the JavaScript enable to true. It looks like it does want the HTTP and stuff, so I'm going to add those to my URL bar while I'm at it. Make sure I have the whole thing. I should have just searched for text. There it is. There we go. And that's extra, right. Okay. So set JavaScript enabled, built-in zoom controls. That's probably it for now, but let's see what others are there. There's set background color, listener, no, suck. Settings is a better name. Set is a terrible name. Alright, settings dot allow file access from URLs. Support zoom, multiple windows. do. Look at other settings. Okay, I also want to set the web view itself to be scrollable, so that means that I want scroll bars on the sides of it. So that's going to be scroll bar style. And then I want view dot scroll bars inside, probably. Inside, inside overlay. I'm gonna roll with overlay. Okay. And then I don't need this extra edit text that they added. I'm gonna use my URL bar. You know what? Let me rename that to URL bar. Edit text is a stupid name. Okay. Let's see what that gives me with just these settings. Should give me a pretty basic web browser. Clear text not permitted. See, I knew I needed other permissions. So I'm not allowed to send HTTP in the clear. That's a separate permission too. So a while ago, I don't remember what version it was, but Google decided that sending anything, any kind of unencrypted traffic, so basic TCP, UDP, or HTTP, which is funny because obviously TCP and UDP, you could do anything, you could encrypt them yourself, but Google can't know that. So they decided that any traffic that could be unencrypted requires a special permission, and that permission is considered relatively dangerous, so it's kind of hard to get yourself in the store and to stay on it if you have the clear text permission. Did you get this thing? I already added uses permission internet to it. So where do I get clear text? Oh, to get yourself into a less dangerous state, you can add clear text traffic only to a specific domain. Application tag in the manifest file. Let's see. Uses clear text traffic true. Let's see if that's good enough. You'd think there'd be a better way to look all of these up, but again, you've got a pretty asinine structure here where clear text traffic is an application property rather than a permission. Who knows who decided to do that? Let's see if I can get to Google. Oh, look at that. Now I can get to Google. Let's see if I can look around and do stuff. Oh, yeah, I want to know all about my IRS tax stimulus checks. Let's see. Look at that. Nice. I can browse the internet from my beautiful DemoCensor browser. I remember I was trying to censor, whoops, whatever. I was trying to censor content containing the word demo, so the joke basically is that we're censoring democracy, although the company that develops it argues that they're definitely not censoring democracy, and it's all very funny. So how do I censor just some contents? Okay, Android, Webview, block certain content. This I've never had to do before, so we'll see. Well, that's not promising. An 8-year-old question with no answers makes it sound like nobody really's done this before. Uh-oh. I should also probably figure out what the non-depreciated way of doing this is. Set web Chrome client? There we go. No? No. It was worth a shot. Let's look that up first. Webview Chrome client. That should work. See if I can still get a browser. Let's see what the difference is between the Chrome client and the standard one. Ooh. Chrome client takes me to the Chrome screen, which I've never set up. Accept, no thanks. Go ahead and steal that email. Oh, am I back in my app yet? This just looks like regular Chrome. Does that just take me to regular Chrome? Yes, it just takes me to regular Chrome. Alright. That's probably not what I wanted. So if I go, yeah, that's just going to take me to Chrome. That's the difference, I guess. You can embed one, you can't embed the other. Okay. Well, how do I make an embedded Chrome client? Can I just not do that? Maybe I need both. Maybe if you have both, you can do it. Should override URL loading. Oops. Changed the wrong name. Okay, maybe it has a hint here. Overrides depreciated method. Well, shoot. Can't figure out how to do it without any of the stuff that's depreciated. Don't really want to look up why it's been depreciated, since that's kind of a rabbit hole. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Now I can browse it right here in my thing. Let's see, what do I want to learn about now? I still want to learn about IRS stimulus checks. Nice. I can go back to Google. Nice. Okay. Well, at least it's back inside of my browser thing. So here, the progress changed listener, this is for progress bars. So here we could do something with progress bar here. So it'd actually be really easy. I didn't realize that we have that. So with the client, we can do something really easy to just get the progress bar going. All right. What was I up to last? Blocking particular content. So there are two methods, should override URL loading or should intercept request. So should intercept request sounds good, but it doesn't complete what I'm trying to do. I only want to block content. I don't want to block the whole URL, but let's start with that. Let's block whole URLs. So should override URL loading. Let's try something real similar. If URL.contains demo log.d. We'll just try that out. Geez, really taking your time today, Gradle. There you go. All right. I'm going to try visiting a dangerous website. Let's go and visit democracy. Uh-oh. I got some content alerts here. I saw them. Content contains demo. There it is. Content alert. If I visit, let's say, the Wikipedia page for democracy, I should get another one. Content contains demo. Direct democracy. Uh-oh, content contains demo. Let's visit democracy. Democracy apparently doesn't contain demo. Go figure. Okay, I should probably backport the URL to the edit text, so the edit text should actually display what I've got there. So let's do that too. Let's say that the URL bar dot text, and we want to set it to the URL let's see if that works, or if I have to do a little bit more with it. Probably need some kind of on-content change listener. Yep, looks like I need some kind of content change listener. Alright, let's see. What can I do for that? Webview, get change, and get URL change. So I'm in the right place. Should override URL loading. Can't detect URL change by JavaScript. Ouch. Let's try this guy then. But this comes from Kotlin, unfortunately, so now I get to make the conversion. So hopefully it's Boolean. Sure. Is it a void? Yes. Stupid 2-argument logger. Why did Android do that? It's a darn good question. Weather. Nothing happened. News. Nothing happened. Okay, so that's not it. Maybe I need to get rid of this Chrome client thing. Oh, I had the wrong logcat enabled. That's going to make a lot of sense. Alright. DemoCensor. There's the Google. If I go to weather, oh, there's the URL I'm looking for. Does it change up here? I didn't see. Oh, it did. Cool. And what if I search for democracy in Google? I'll change my URL bar to Wikipedia once I get there. Oop, oop, Britannica, whatever. Oh, yes it does. Alright, cool. So now I have a fully functioning URL bar that can also warn me when I'm visiting a no-no page. And then we could trivially block it and do all this other stuff. But that's not necessarily what the task was for the people in 270. They were supposed to censor content containing demo, not just detect it. So we're done up to the point where you're detecting it. That's pretty easy. Let's look at how you might censor it. So Android Webview gets, let's say, how do you get the HTML source? A JavaScript interface. Interesting. That is weird. And then evaluate JavaScript. Alright, let's give it a try. So, instead of logging the URL every time there's a change, we're going to try to evaluate it. See if we can get the HTML to print to logcat here. That's going to allow us to block it. Ooh, that looks right to me. Yep, that's a lot of HTML. Wikipedia.com. Oh, I never set enter to actually go, so that's unfortunate. Oof. Uncaught errors. So it looks like this isn't the best way to do it, considering I'm already getting errors in some really basic articles. Democracy. But I can read most of them. I read democracy there, I read government. Okay, so you can see that as I visit pages, I just visited Wikipedia. I forgot to put my phone on the screen, but I just visited Wikipedia. I was able to pull democracy and government, but I got an error on the front page on wikipedia.org. So this is one way to get HTML. One way to get HTML from your Webview. Alright, and now let's look at the better answer. It looks like somebody linked one there using an HTTP client. That's probably the way to go. So let's do that. had to use an HTTP client for parsing. This is probably the better way to go if you just want to fetch web content and you're only interested in the text and you don't want to do like a full browser support. You want people to be able to navigate around, and you don't need the content to display accurately. You just want some text from the content. So you're just scanning or crawling a web page for some text. This is probably the way you're going to go. I'm going to add another button for this. Let's go with go, and this will be button crawl. Okay. Let's go button. This is crawl button. And somehow I decided to reset my text. Even though capitals don't matter in material design, maybe one day they will, so keep on capitalizing things. Okay, go and crawl. And I'm going to have crawl have a separate listener doodad. So that'll be on click go. And I gotta grab crawl button and everything. Blah, what a pain. Crawl button. So when you're making HTTP or other internet requests, you should do it asynchronously. I noticed that the code that was on the stack post there did not do it asynchronously, which is a very bad idea, because if you don't do it asynchronously and it hangs for whatever reason, it's going to hang your main thread, your user interface as well. So that's usually going to be a no-go. I haven't shown you how to do anything asynchronously yet because it kind of varies depending on what you want to do. But I did give you an example of some asynchronous code from one of my old apps for reading and writing from a file. And yeah, I recommend using that. I have one for reading and writing from a file, and I have one for issuing HTTP requests. So I'll just let you check those out because those are kind of long examples. But basically, Android features an additional way of doing threading besides what you're used to in Java, if you're used to it, if you took 328. Android also lets you do something more like C# with asynchronous tasks. And that's what you probably want to do most of the time, that you're reading from I/O, writing from I/O, or visiting a web page or something like that. So asynchronous tasks basically can happen at the same time the main thread continues to do its thing, and then once they finish reporting back the result, the code that was kind of blocked by it just magically continues. So it's a very fancy thing, a very fancy trick. Click crawl. All right. So here we're going to issue an HTTP request instead. All right. Here it looks like they used this trick to change the content of the page, possibly. So that might actually fit the need that I'm looking for specifically, but we'll see. And did they do it asynchronously? No, they did not. All right. Let's go. It's going to be a log at the end. Okay, it looks like there's some fancy regex here happening too, which is going to fit my needs for pattern matching as well. Now, where did they get this HTTP GET class? the URL that I had before. Yeah, it's interesting that I don't have that imported, and there's not an option for it. Looks like they used a custom HTTP getter at some point. Darn. Guess I get to look at it. Uses internet. Get some similarities here. These are requests for volley, which is not what I'm looking for. So we need to add an HTTP client. Well, I am clearly missing something with all these imports failing. This one should definitely have an import available for it. Let's go and pull up my own work. Can't find anything on the internet, so I'll just copy myself. There we go. Okay, so we want the URL, and I'm going to grab that from the view again. And what's wrong here? Oh, it actually wants an actual URL. So I want to go with new URL. You can make a URL from a string, so this should work fine after I import it. Is it all caps? Yes. Who names a class all caps? That's just a terrible idea. And that's all got to be try-catched. Okay. Oh, everything's got to be try-catched. Well, we might as well just put it all in the same one. You know, convenience's sake. There There we go. Generic I/O exception. Hooray, catch all. Yes, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So, try catch is essential. That actually makes a ton of sense. Okay, and now I need to set the request method, so it is a little bit strange, this whole response handling thing. Can I import these? No. Alright, it looks like this person has a lot of custom code that I'm not really able to do. Let's see if I can find a simple HTTP GET request example. Seems strange that I can't. Okay. Let's try that out. It looks like I should have HTTP client and default HTTP client bundled, but I don't for some reason. Let's see if I can figure out why. Not supported anymore. Isn't that lovely? So all of these old examples that I'm looking at are wrong because they simply removed it from the Android library with no warning. Hooray! You have to use URL connection or downgrade to SDK22. Alright, well that makes sense. I guess URL connection example might be a better choice. Yeah, that seems right. There we go. Well, that was really annoying. Sorry, guys. And that's how it works in the Android world. Even though I knew that that stuff should have been there, I obviously didn't. I don't follow all of Android's development cycle, so of course I didn't know that it had been removed. Who could possibly know that? Who could possibly know that? Okay. Looks like we've got read stream here. Interesting. I'm guessing that they made a method called read stream somewhere, but then forgot to give it to you. That's lovely. Is it anywhere in here? No. They could have at least provided an example. That would have been nice. Alright. Is there a read all? Probably not. Yeah, that's not gonna work great. Well, then I guess I need a better example. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can copy my old stuff on this. Their example's pretty bad. So I'll read the import stream, attempt to parse it as ISO, and then print that to the console. Okay, so this stuff isn't great either, but I'm at least setting up input stream readers, and then at least I had the code to do something with them. So all I'm doing is just adding the lines to a list of lines one by one. So this is just print the whole HTML as one long string. So it's not good or anything, but at least I can actually get a string out of it. Unlike Android's examples, which don't compile until you fill in the readline activity, which is terribly nice of them. Okay, so let's see what happens when I try to crawl Google. Not good news, it crashed. Let's see why it crashed. Network on main thread exception. Drat. So, not allowed to do that. Can't do HTTP requests on the main thread. Darn it. So I guess it's time to show you how to do asynchronous tasks. Alright, let's make something called background HTTP worker. All of this is going to have to end up over there. So this is going to extend async task, and then you can provide it some parameters. And I need at least a string. Let's go with string. Yeah, and then it should offer me to implement some methods. Oh, this is depreciated too? No. Well, implement it. Go on then. I see you have decided not to fix the bug for me. How very kind of you. I did implement the method. Why? Why do you torture me like this? I'm going to keep going and see if I can get it to register. So you need to get the context. You need a constructor for this thing. Background HTTP worker, and you need to set the context. This is so that you can message back to the other application. You can talk to it, get its different properties there. Okay. Nope. Should be a string then. I know I need these fancy execute update thingamajigs too. I don't know why Android has decided it's not going to implement the methods I need for me. That is pretty annoying. Guess I'll load up an async task example. Their example already loads the wrong thing there, so that's not good news for them. Okay. Do I have an extra? Yes, I did. Still not happy with that. Oh, yeah, gotta rename it. Background HTTP. TTP worker. There we go. Okay, so I would still like a URL. I would like to return a string instead, please. Thank you. And I would like to return the HTML. What did I call that? Or result or something, whatever. There we go. Okay, looks like I figured it out, and then I can just void there. I don't think I need that. All right. Yes. Ah, right. You need 3 things when you specify async task. Okay, that's my bad. I forgot. You need inputs, what happens on progress updates. So this is for progress bars and stuff. So I needed 3 things in the brackets here, and I forgot them. So if I had just, going back to my original here, if I had just said void string here, I think I would have been able to go with my string s here. You need to be able to take multi-param, so you do the ellipses. Looks like I've made a lot of red happen. And that should do the trick. Let's clean that up. Yes. Missed a bracket somewhere. I know I did. I don't know where. Oh, I missed the comma. There it goes. Alright, cool. I got it now. Yes, so you need the inputs, the what happens when it updates, and then the returns. And then the inputs you can come in. So the string with ellipses, you probably haven't seen that before. That's one or many, so you could pass multiple strings in there. This is kind of like an array, kind of like an array list. It can be different lengths, so that can be helpful there. Alright, back to what I was doing. I was doing this. Okay, so I want all this try catch stuff inside of my background worker. And I want it to return result at the end. This will return nothing. Okay. And I want to pick it up from params. You can reference it like that's okay. So you can reference params basically as if it were an array. I'm gonna copy that real quick before I bring it back, so you can reference the parameters as if it was an array. And this executes again in the background, so not on the UI thread where you are not allowed to do anything at all. And then we want to execute it. So that's a background HTTP worker dot execute with the URL. So much easier threading model than you're probably used to. Like that? No. Oh, it needs context, right. Set context. Okay. This dot get context. How do I get the context? Context, no. Context. Get application context, sure, why not? Okie doke. Next try. Oh, I forgot to actually print it, so that's kind of pointless. Just do that here for now. Ideally, of course, we want to get our result back into the UI thread, and then we'd probably do something else with it. Okay. Sweet. There's the HTML of Google. Now let's go and try it on another website there. So let's say I want to go to wikipedia.org. I'm going to go visit it first. Let's see, there's some stuff there. And let me try my crawler. So the JavaScript version I want to show you failed there. It's got null. I got some errors there. Let's see if my crawler can do it. Yes, it can. Woo! So the crawler already does better than whatever Google gives you in the web view. So yeah, I've got my HTML. You can see title, Wikipedia, blah, blah, blah. You should all be pretty familiar with HTML from your class. Now, as I browse through here, it can take me to different pages. I'm at Zeno's petrol page. I can hit the crawl button again. It'll take me to that page. Let's see how it differs from the other version. So Zeno's petrol. The other version is missing the doc type, and it has a couple of weird Unicode characters in there, whereas mine actually processed those successfully. I've got the doc type there. The HTML basically just processed everything as text. So I think mine wins mostly. But beyond that, they're pretty much the same. So if you wanted to parse, let's say, if the word democracy was found anywhere on the page. Okay, so we're going to parse if democracy was found anywhere on the page. Let me see if I can get the results back from an async task. Get results back from an async task. I think I'm going to need to do on post execute or something. Let's see, invoked on the UI thread, do in background, post upgrade, post execute, no, none of those. Do in background, execute. Okay. Worker. Android, get data back from async task. This is the correct answer. So you need to specify a callback, and then you can retrieve the data from it like that. I could set it up now, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to put it off for another day because I only have 10 minutes anyway. So I'm just going to do the democracy parsing in here. Alright, so I'm looking through the HTML. Let's just write another method here, I guess. So public void detect and remove democracy. String original. And let's say it returns a string for you. Okay, so let's say I want to replace all the strings. So Java replace occurrences of string. This is going to require a regex. I'm going to use replace all, I guess. That's fine for me. Okay, so original dot replace all. Oh yeah, it's regex, so I need a fanciness. Okay, replace all. Oh no, I don't. Okay, just use the comment variant. So I'm replacing anything containing demo with a blank. Right, you don't actually need to provide a regex. Anything containing democracy with a blank. Anything containing demos with a blank. Technically demo already handles that, but whatever. Demos can go first. And then I'm going to return original. Obviously be better if I had something more regexy, let's say. Okay. So I'm going to detect and remove democracy on result, and then I will output the URL. So if everything works correctly here, then when I visit the pages containing democracy or something, I'll see their normal HTML, but none of the stuff containing the word democracy. Let me actually go ahead and shut this guy up so that I don't get the extra printouts that are confusing. Just want to see my crawler. Alright, let's see. Does this page have any? Probably not. Let's go to Wikipedia again. And then I'll search for democracy on Wikipedia. And I'm going to crawl it. And let's see what I come up with. Alright, so this is what happened when I crawled it. I got, god dang it, I got democracy with a capital D. That's what I get for not specifying better regex. But reading through the page, most of the occurrences are democracy with a capital D. I'm going to have to maybe grab this whole line here, paste it into Notepad. Lovely, all that URL content there. Okay. Let's not try to read that. That's too much. I'll just go and fix it. So let's get the uppercase democracy as well. Probably get democratic there too. Oops. Forgot to do that as well. Yeah, good enough. Alright, let's try that out. And using the same logic, you can extract what you're looking for, so lines containing a particular word, and then you can read past them, so you can do the same thing for your application in order to crawl web pages that contain the content you're interested in. Alright. Democracy. And crawl this page. Okay, notice it took a while to finish crawling because this is a very expensive operation to replace all. It's an exhaustive search essentially on the whole string, so it sucks. But look, the title of the page is gone. It's just a Wikipedia page now. And it doesn't have any content. That is dangerous now. Isn't that great? Made the internet a safer place. Okay, so that's basically DemoCensor. The next task would be to pipe that HTTP response, this response that we got here, complete with all of the pages, valid JavaScript into the Webview. Now that is the hard part, and I'm not even going to touch that because that is just no fun at all. That is just tedium, tedium, tedium. non-stop Googling. Alright, so that's it, I think, for today. A couple of you I didn't meet with to talk about your applications earlier, so if you want to talk to me about how you're doing, get your progress report grade, see me now or after class for office hours, or just some other day and tell me how it's coming along. And don't forget that the next checkpoint is coming upon you. It'll be on you before you know it. I think you have like a week and a half to 2 weeks to the next checkpoint. And that time I will probably be reviewing your code a bit, so I do expect you to have more functioning code by then. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions or if there's anything else that you want to see more of. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to just do these 270 knockoff apps, and I will see you guys next time.